Hey girl, hey guy, it's Ty and welcome back to Ty's Adulting Handbook. On this channel, we discuss all things practical life skills, personal development, as well as things you wish that someone would have taught you in order to prepare better for this thing called life. Okay, so welcome. So on this episode, we're going to be talking about the moving cost checklist. Okay, why are we going to be talking about the moving cost checklist? Like, what's going on, Ty? What's happening? Well, as we all know right now in this current climate, as I am recording this video, it is May 2025. So a lot of what's happening right now due to the climates that a lot of people are actually moving back home, whether younger or older, right? So I think it's important to actually have this discussion in order for us to prepare for maybe whether it's the first time moving out as a younger adult, or whether you've lived on your own before and it's time to prepare in order to move back on our feet. So it's just really a lot of costs that come along with that. Well, sometimes people don't talk about, or things that we miss, and we want to go ahead and get into it. All right. Okay, so with the moving cost checklist, the first thing that I'm gonna do is get all up in your business. Okay, so let's go ahead and throw out some hypothetical numbers, but we wanna make sure primarily that we are making enough income to even put ourselves in a situation to be able to move out, right? Or whether or not we need a side hustle, we need a promotion at work, or what have you. So let's say we're going out looking for apartments and we're trying to look at areas and styles and things of that nature. You speak with the people in the office and they say, okay, well, the rent here is $1,300 a month and you need to make 3 times the rent. Okay, so 3 times the rent of $1,300 would be $3,900, which means after taxes and everything like that, you need to be bringing home at least $3,900, right? And the best case scenario for this situation, let's say that you make about $70K a year, which after taxes, give or take, let's say a round number, about $4,000 a month. So in regards to that moving checklist, okay, can we afford this place, right? Will they allow us to get in the door and things of that nature? Is our credit in order, which we talked about in the last video, how credit is a very important factor in regards to being approved for things, right? So that's the first thing. So the next thing on the checklist is a application fee. Now, say you're in the process of getting approved at multiple locations. This can be costly because every time you decide to apply at this location, that location, that location to see who's going to approve you, you have to put out application fees every single time. So those application fees could be anywhere around $100 each or higher. So that's something that you want to keep in mind with your checklist. Okay, so the next thing to consider is a security deposit. Now, the goal is to have A1 top tier credit. That way they will waive the security deposit, but keep in mind, depending on where you may be living, because I know some states up north like New York, maybe Connecticut, Jersey, those types of places, they are not lenient at all. They ask for a lot down. But in some places, the deposit could be waived, or the deposit could be $500, $1,000, right? But these are important questions to ask in order for you to add them to your checklist. All right, next on the list, renter's insurance. Now, a lot of times renter's insurance, the leasing office, sometimes they will provide it and you can do it through them, or you can find an insurance company like a State Farm, a Progressive, Allstate, what have you. And with that, it's a simple questionnaire of things that they'll ask you, but renter's insurance can cost you anywhere from $20 to $30 depending on how expensive your valuables are. If you're moving out for the first time, I mean, you may not have anything more than maybe $5,000, that you want to have covered, but renter's insurance could be anywhere from $20 to $30 a month, or you can just pay one lump sum. It'll be maybe, let's say, like $250 for the whole year. So that's something to add into the cost as well. Next thing that we want to consider are utilities. Like, what are utilities? Do you remember ever living at home with your parents and they're always yelling at you, cut those lights off, you sleep, cut that TV off, who's running all that water, all those things? Like,
using more power? This electric bill is $25.83 more than usual.
How am I supposed to know how much power I'm using?
Well, you take the amount of time you use an appliance.
things like You don't need to flush the toilet every single time you use it. I'm just saying it's possible. It's possible. But utilities are the gas, or it could be electric, but gas, electric, water, power, all those things, right? So that's something to be able to understand if you live in a smaller city where it's not as expensive. Like for myself, I lived in Indiana for a year. My electric bill, the highest it ever got, to my knowledge, was about $50 a month, and that was nothing. But now I currently live in Texas, and the electric bill can be upwards of $300, right? So it's totally night and day, but those are things that you want to factor into in regards to where you're living, plan and prepare, over exceed with your funds. Okay, so we need to be able to get on our laptops once we move into our new place. Internet. You're going to need internet, right? So, of course, there are multiple providers wherever you may decide to live, and roughly internet for an individual. I mean, times have changed. I mean, I know they have like $50 internet packages, or maybe something $25 for, internet just for basic usage, or if you game, you might need something more, anything like that. But that's something to add on your moving checklist as well. Now, a moving company. This is where things can get very tricky. Now, of course, you want to utilize all of your personal resources. And when I say personal resources, if you are in a position where you can ask family to help you move, your cousins, aunts, uncles, heck, if your neighbor is cool with you, I would say ask your neighbor to help you out in regards to moving, so we can keep those fees and everything low. When I moved from Indiana to Texas, my neighbor, and he was so gracious. He was so gracious. He loaded my whole U-Haul for me, and he didn't ask for anything. He asked for me to help for something he needed filled out for like his job or something that he was working on, a survey or something like that. But neither here nor there, right? Utilize all your resources. But I drove my U-Haul with my car on the back from Indiana to Texas, and that was the most cost efficient thing for myself. Thank the Lord, I didn't have to pay for a mover. But movers can vary, right? It depends on how many items you have when you're filling out the survey. How many items do you have? Meaning how many bedrooms do you have? How many bathrooms? Any precious items? Do you have any safes, any pianos? They were asking me all types of questions, right? So keep that in mind, because moving costs can be anywhere from, let's see, I'm trying to remember what I paid, because there was another time where I moved and I did have to pay. But I mean, I might have paid, let's say it was around like $1,000. Let's say it was like $1,000. But imagine if you have a lot of items that you're taking with you, or you're moving state to state, that's a fee where it can cost you thousands and thousands of dollars, right? So you have to plan and prepare for that. Next thing that we're going to talk about on the moving list are the packing supplies. Now, a lot of times we don't even incorporate this because it's just like, a few boxes, couple rolls of tape. No. Now, you need boxes, tape, bubble wrap if you have glass items that you want to take care of. One hack that I've learned is that with trash bags, you can put a lot of clothes in there. In some instances, you don't even need boxes. You can keep the clothes on the hanger, poke the hole in the top of the bag, slide it over the clothes, tie the knot at the bottom, and your clothes are protected, and there you go, right? So that kind of expense, that could be anywhere from $100 to $200, and that's something that you want to be aware of as well. So let's go back through it. So we have rent at $1,300, an application fee at $100. Now, it can be upwards of $100 each, but the goal is to apply for what we want, and we already have good credit in place, so we're just going to go with a standard $100. Utilities, power, electric, water, things like that, $300. Renter's insurance, $30. Moving company, should you need one, it can vary, right? So let's say we budget in for about $1,000 on that. Okay, so packing supplies, tape, trash bags, boxes, bubble wrap, all that can be close to $100 unless you can find a better cost efficient way, right? I would rather over budget for these things, because with moving there's always something that's going to come out of nowhere that's going to trip us up, but we want to make sure that we have more than enough funds prepared, right? So with going through all of those, oh, and also a deposit that could be anywhere from $500 upward, right? But for this, to get a round number, we're just going to put a $500 deposit, right? Unless they allow you to waive that because you have really great credit and they don't need a deposit. So with summing all of that up, we're looking at $3,330, right? So keep that in mind. Now, there are also things that I didn't get into, groceries, and if you already have like a car note and insurance, all that. I mean, those are pre-existing things that you more than likely would have already been paying for prior to preparing this move checklist, as far as like getting in the door and reoccurring bills and things of that nature. But it's just something to think about, right? You want to put yourself in a position where you budget as closely as possible, but over exceed with the budget, because once again, there are always going to be things that are going to go on that you're going to have to dish out additional funds for. But I want to make sure that we prepare for this the best way possible and make sure we have that in order. So keep in mind as well that we did say that we are working with a $70K salary, which is like $4,000 a month. So let's be mindful, because that's a hefty moving checklist, right? And comment down below if there's anything else that you feel like I should have added. We can talk about that, or if you have any additional questions. But thank you so much for watching this episode, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.